Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Oh, good. And what have you been doing since I last saw you?
Completing my assignment.
Oh, good. And how's that gone?
It's go well.
Oh, brilliant. Well done. What's the assignment about?
About education of young children.
Education.
Of young children.
Oh, that sounds great. Sort of thing I'm interested in. And what's the main kind of point of view that you're sharing?
About the disease that they face. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, great. Well, that sounds really interesting, Lynn. I'm glad that's going well. Hi, Chong.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Oh, good. And have you done anything of interest over the last week?
I've just been completing a lot of my homework and preparing for next week's exams.
Oh, wow. Okay. And what are your exams in?
All my subjects. It's exam week next week.
That's for everything. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's busy then for you. Lots of revision this week, I should imagine. Well, good luck. Good luck. Hi, Jashria.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good. And you weren't here last week, Jashria, actually, were you? Yes, you were. Yes, you were. I think you had your camera off, didn't you? How have you done anything nice this week?
Not that interesting, just getting all my exam results
Mhm.
and having a mental breakdown for the ones I got really bad at.
Because you did really badly, did you say?
Quite badly because it's like the
Oh,
first
no.
exam after a long time. So it
Mhm.
was, yeah.
Did you get what you need to get though
No,
for your next steps? You didn't. Okay. Have you got a chance to resit?
no, but we have our final exams next year.
Ah, I see. So you've got another chance to kind of bump it up the overall score.
Yeah,
Ah, well, that's good then, because I'm sure now that you've had it's hard, isn't it, when you're out of practice? So I'm sure with your hard work and determination, you will be wonderful. So good luck. But I'm sorry that you were having a bit of a time of it this week. These things are tricky, aren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, so feel for you there. Hi, Danny Asri.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, good. And how about you? Have you done anything of interest this week?
Nothing special. Same as Jeshia. I've been getting my results as well.
Oh, okay. And how did you do?
I wouldn't say so good. Not up to my expectations.
Oh dear. Okay. Same question again. Have you got what you need to get?
Mm, kind of, but I'm not. I'm not satisfied with my results.
Okay. So, and have you got another chance as well?
Same as Jeshia. Final exam.
Ah, great. Okay. So, so these are the final ones, or you've got finals next year?
Finals next year on
Ah,
January.
right. So yeah, so you have a chance to bump it up a bit after some practice. Okay. Hi, Carlson.
Hi, teacher.
How are you?
I'm well.
And have you been doing your exams as well?
Yeah, I'm preparing for my exam.
And is that all going okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Good, good. All right. And finally, Eugene. Hello, Eugene.
Hi, teacher. I'm well. I've been doing a lot of practices to score better in my upcoming exam.
Good, good, good. And how long in general are you spending revising each week or each day?
Each day, 1 to 2 hours.
And is that so that's on top of your school time as well?
Uh, I've completed all my homeworks during the recess. So I do practices at home.
Oh, okay, I see. So you've got some like revision time. The school have given you some revision time.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, that's good. Well, all the best with that. So you're all working very hard. It's a tricky time, but you're all very hard working. So I'm sure all of this hard work will pay off. And I know you're working very hard in these lessons as well. You should be receiving your results from the mock test. If you haven't already, you should be receiving them soon. Have you received them? You have? Okay. So some of them were low, as you will see, some of you may have scored, your overall percentage might have been quite low, but that was down to the fact that some of you didn't submit all of your tests. So perhaps you had writing missing or speaking missing. That's why I've put the individual scores on there as well, so you can see what you got in each part, but they are all worth the same amount. So obviously you have to put the same amount of effort into all of them. They're all the same weighting. So hopefully that was helpful, and you can see the areas where you need most work. Was it helpful to see your report? Were they helpful? Yep. Oh, good. Glad to see. For a lot of you today, I can only see the top of your head. So imagine if that was me. It's quite hard. So let me see if I can see your full face, please. Thank you if I can already. That's good. Otherwise, it's just quite hard to communicate, because sometimes you can just communicate with facial expressions, actually, can't we? We don't always have to unmute. So, Kelson, try and show your face as well, please. See a bit more. Okay, so while you're sorting that, we'll get started. We're going to be continuing with Unit 13. Let me just share our slides for today. And we're going to be, continuing Unit 13, which is house space. And we'll keep thinking about that. But I thought we could warm up with a couple of speaking games. So I think, well, there's two lots I found. There's speaking games and then there's funny story predictions. But perhaps we'll do a bit of both. We'll start with speaking games for today, for beginning, and then we can always have a look at the other one at the end of the session as a bit of a final game. So I'm going to choose somebody to choose a game, and it will tell us the instructions. So Lynn, choose a game.
What's the film?
Which one, sorry?
What's the film? Number 3.
Number 3. Oh, yeah, what's the film? Great. Okay, so I haven't looked at all of these, actually, so it's a surprise to me as well. I had a look at some of them. They look great. So read the instructions, please, Lynn.
Your teacher will find a suitable film trailer online. Students will be put into pairs. Student A will watch the video and tell their partner what they are seeing, without saying the names of the characters or actors.
Okay, stop there for a second. I remember this now. This one's not going to work with online lessons, so sorry. Choose another one. Most of them do work. I should have put a little mark on the ones that don't. Choose another one.
Name your top 5.
Okay, so I'm going to click on the box to reveal the question. Extra points of saying why these are your favourites. It's just a chance to get to know each other, have a chance to speak. It's a bit of speaking and listening. So what are your top 5 books? If you're finding it hard to say your top 5, maybe you could just say your favourite book and why. So Danny Astri, do you want to start us off?
Sure, teacher. My favorite book is, let me think. I would say it's like an adventure book. It's called The Kingdom of Fantasy, and it's not a long novel. It's just a short one, and it's about a rodent who travels to different kingdoms, and he goes there to accomplish one of his challenges that he has to accomplish, and then at the end he will accomplish it, and he would meet the queen in the Kingdom of Fantasy. So I find it quite interesting. I read this when I think when I was 10 years old, and I still like it until now.
Fantastic. Okay, well done for speaking for such a long time about that as well. So Chong, you can go next. You can say which color and shape. So a green circle, for example.
A purple rectangle.
Okay, what are your 5 favorite pizza toppings?
Uh, Chicken,
Yeah, more
Uh,
good choice. Yeah.
pepperoni, cheese, of
Mm-hmm.
course.
Mm.
Tuna, actually.
Oh, that's a good choice. I like that. I like prawns on pizza actually, which is a bit unusual.
And pineapple.
Pineapple lover on pizza. That's often an area of debate, isn't it? Do you like pineapple on your pizza or not? Hands up, who else likes pineapple on their pizza? Who's with Chong on that one? I like pineapple on pizza. No? Nobody else? Oh, well, we'll just have to eat all the pineapple on pineapple pizza, Chong. Okay, let's have Danny Asri. Oh, have you done one, Danny? You've done the book, haven't you? Sorry. Howson.
Yes, yes.
Do you want to choose a shape and colour?
Green.
A green circle or square? Or rectangle, sorry. Circle.
Rectangle.
What are your top 5 kinds of fruit?
My favorite food is durian. The second is banana. Third is honeydew. Fourth is
Ooh, nice choices.
Apple, and the fifth is maybe kiwi.
Which one?
Kiwi.
Ah, yeah. Okay, great. Good idea. Okay, Jeffrey, do you want to choose? Okay, just a nice chance to get to know each other, this one.
I want the green square.
Green square. Okay, I think they're all rectangles actually, but I would have to measure it to be sure. What are your top 5 games? Oh, good question.
I used to play games last time, but I don't really play games right now because I'm really busy. So
Yeah.
the games that I usually play with my cousins are Roblox,
Mm-hmm.
Minecraft, and
Ooh.
some card games like Monopoly. And there's
Oh,
also one
yes.
more game called the Pictionary app. You have to install the app, and then you have to use the pen that they provided. They provided for you. So you have to draw it on the air, and you have to use the phone to scan it, so you can see what image you're drawing. So then your family members have to guess. Your family members or your friends have to guess what you drew. So that's
Oh, that sounds good.
yeah, it's really interesting.
Do you say in the air?
Yeah, you have to draw it in the air, and whoever's holding the phone has to look at the has to scan you. So whatever you're drawing, you can see it on the phone, and they have to guess what did you draw.
No, that sounds good. So then does it end up being like it's quite difficult for the person drawing because
Yeah, it's a
they
total
can't see what
yeah,
they
it's really
can't see what they've done? That sounds funny. I love Pictionary. So the sound of Pictionary Air sounds great. Thanks for the recommendation. I think I'm going to be playing that. So next week when you ask me what I've done, that'll be it probably. I'm going to try and see if I can find it. It sounds brilliant. And you said something about I played games before, I think. But you might just say I used to play games would be a better way of saying that. Who hasn't had a go? Eugene.
The pink circle on the left.
Oh, I got the right one. That's good. Okay, what are your top 5 songs? Oh,
Hmm. favorite song is 小城夏天 is a Chinese song.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really describe it.
That's okay. So maybe you can
And
say what it's about. What's the song about? What are the words about?
the song about love and it's a pop song. It's very
Mm-hmm.
positive. It cheers me up.
Oh, great. So you could say it's quite uplifting as well.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So are you just going with the top song for now, or you've got any more to share?
Nothing.
Yeah, all right. Well, that sounds good. I'm glad to hear about that. And Lynn, do you want to choose one?
Pink square.
A pink square. Okay. I think they're rectangles, but maybe they're squares. We'll have to measure. What are your top 5 ways to travel?
By train.
So that's your top way to travel, yes?
Then
And why is train number 1 for you?
I don't know. I just feel like it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I no need to drive. I can rest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. That sounds brilliant. So, this is a good chance to get to know each other. They're all different, these ones. We'll have a look at the other one as well later. But let's move on now and get thinking about houses again. So we're going to just think about which house we would rather live in. Last week we were talking about where in the world you would like to live. But can you believe there are all of these different types of houses that can be found all around the world in different places? I don't know where these houses are actually, but which one would you're going to say for each set which house you would rather live in and why? And you can talk in pairs. I'll choose pairs to have a go at each one, and you'll have to try and decide on which house you think you would rather live in if you had to live together. So firstly, we'll have Lynn and Jashria. So you can unmute and you can discuss together which house you would rather live in.
Hey, Joshua, do you want to start first, or you want me to start?
You start first.
Okay. For me, I'd rather stay in the house in the second picture, because I like to stay at the house which is high and I can see the scenery easier. Yeah.
I agree with you, but I rather choose the first one, the upside down house, because I've heard many people saying there's a museum called the Upside Down Museum, and they said that it's a very cool museum, and I've never been there, so I'd like to experience it. So I would like to live in that house.
Oh, that's a really good argument put forward there, Jeshua. What do you think, Lynn? Are you going to agree with her now, or do you think you're still going to stick to house number 2?
Yeah, I think for the first picture, for the upside down house, is really interesting, but in my point of view, I still will choose the house that I chose just now. Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to go your separate ways, you two. All right, well, good discussion. Eugene and Calson, which house would you rather live in? One or 2?
I would rather live in one
Because?
I like
Sorry.
the sea and the scenario near the sea is very beautiful and I can see the sunset every day.
Oh, nice reason.
And
Yes, I like
sunrise.
that. Eugene, are you there?
Just because I also prefer living in the first picture because I really like Pirates of the Caribbean. Living in that house makes me feels like I'm a pirate on a pirate ship. That feels really cool.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, good idea. So you two agreed then. That's good. So you're going to be able to go and live in house number 1 together if you can find it. Don't know where it is. Oh, I thought I had one more set. So Chong and Danny Asri, you can choose 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can choose from all of the houses we've seen.
Chong, would you like to go first?
Sure. All of them look very interesting, but I think I would like to live in house number 3 because to me it looks like something from Harry Potter.
Mm. It does, doesn't
And
it? Do you know which particular story, or do you just mean because it looks quite magical and different?
either I think it has the feel of the lighthouse in the first movie because
Mhm.
the lighthouse is near the sea and it's also a bit dark, so it looks a bit like that, or it looks like the house of the Weasleys.
Oh, it does a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, well done.
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, so I think I would live in house number 3.
Great, good reason.
Good idea. I mean, good point, Chong. But I would rather live in the fourth picture. It looks like a UFO from another planet, which seems very interesting. And I would like to know more about the structure inside. And it would be a great experience to live there.
Mm. So you two are going your separate ways as well. Well, there'll be somebody living in each house though, because everyone's chosen each one. So enjoy living in those, guys. It looks very interesting. They look very interesting places to live. Okay, well, very good. So on the note of housing then, let's go back to your book. You were finishing off the reading comprehension last time. And did anybody, we sort of had a bit of a rushed ending last week. We quickly marked them, but we didn't really get time to discuss it. So cast your mind back to this. We were reading about Venice in 1733, which seemed like a very interesting time to be living in Venice. Did anybody have any questions about the text? Okay, well, let's move on then. We're going to skip number 5 for now, because we've just done a little bit of speaking together about different houses. So we're going to move on to the vocabulary section, and we're going to have a look at the difference between using the words space, place, room, area, location, and square, because as it says, candidates often confuse the following words, which I've just said. And so you're going to have a go and circle the correct words in italics from Reading and Use of English Part 5. So have a think about which one you think it is first of all. If you finish, you can write your own sentences using these words. But before we go through it, let's just see if you know that one already. So complete exercise 1 and then write in the chat box when you've finished. Okay, so most of you are finished now. Finishing off if you haven't already. I think it's Eugene and Kelson. How are you getting on? Great. Okay. So Eugene, just finishing off. We'll get started though. So I'm going to choose people to read each one and see that you've chosen the right word. Oh, great. Eugene, you finished as well. So Eugene, can you do number 1, please?
Uncle Liu gave me a suspicious look when I called this place the Scacchi Palace.
Yeah, I think it's Scacchi Palace. Okay, good. That's correct. Well done. Danny Asri, number 2, please.
When I lie in bed at night, I can hear the chatter and songs of the passing gondoliers and the conversations in the square nearby.
Okay, in the square nearby. Good. That's right. Third one, please, Chong.
The location of the house is near the city center and easy for our clients to find.
Very good. And the final one, please, Jashria.
Furthermore, the printing trade has many roots in this area of Venice.
In this area of Venice. Great, well done. Okay, so very good job. If there were any that you weren't sure about or you want to ask any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we will move on. So well done, because it says candidates often confuse those, but it doesn't look like you are the candidates that confuse them. So that's good. So we're going to have a look at the definitions on page 185, just to make sure that we're clear about when we do use these, just in case it was, sure it wasn't just chance that you knew them, but we'll find out why. And then we're going to do the same thing again, but with more sentences this time. So turn to page 185, which is, here's 84, 85 here. It's got these words on here. So space, place, room, area, location, and square. So I'm going to give you all a few minutes to just read through those. I don't think we need to read those out loud. You can just read through, and then if you have any questions, you can ask those. Okay, so just have a look first of all.
Teacher, I don't have this page.
You don't have this page? Well, that's fine. So you can read it off the screen then.
Okay.
And if you want to make notes, you can make notes so that you don't forget. Okay, any questions about that? All right, well, let's go back up to the page we were on. Jashria, what was the page number that we were on? Because my book doesn't tell me actually, and I've forgotten.
142.
Oh, yes, it does say there actually. Thank you. 142. Back we go. So you're going to now have a go at these 10 sentences. So using those rules. So you've got a few extra words there, all from page 185. So go back to that page if you need to find out how we use them. So five or so minutes for that, and we'll go through it. Okay, so I think you're all finished now. Well done. 1, 2, 3, 4, or maybe there's two more of you, sorry. Okay, so we'll just get started while I think, is it Eugene? Just while you're finishing off. Oh no, it's Eugene. Okay, no problem. Brilliant. So, oh, you've just got in there again there, Eugene. Good timing. So let's get started. Chong, could you do number 1, please?
We don't have enough space in our garden to hold the party.
Good, exactly, because it's a space that something can go into, which is the party. Jashria, number 2, please.
I hope I'll have enough room for all the things I'm bringing.
Yeah, well done. Number 3, please, Danyasri.
Sorry, I'm late. I just couldn't find a parking space anywhere.
Very good. So far, so good. Lynn, number 4, please.
I'm enclosing a map which shows the location of my school.
Yeah, good. Number 5, please. Eugene.
It's dangerous to go walking in a mountainous area without the correct equipment.
Very good. Carlson, number 6, please.
The animals in the zoo have a lot of space to move around.
Very good. Number 7, please. Back to who was first? Sorry, back to Lynn.
The concert will take place in the main square in front of the cathedral.
Good, well done. Wow, you guys are doing well. So far, so good. Eugene, but number 8 again. You again, please, for number 8. Eugene, are you there? Okay, Calson then, please.
The area of forest where they are going to build a new shopping center is over 500 years old.
The area of forest, yes, good, well done. Number 9, Chong.
There isn't enough space to build more houses in the neighborhood.
Very good. And finally, Jashria, number 10, please.
It's fine for you to stay at our place. We got lots of room.
Very good. Great. And to stay at our place. There we go. Got that 2 words using that one. Wow, very good. 10 out of 10 for that one. Does anybody have any questions? Perhaps there were some that you weren't sure of. All right, well, you're doing well with that. So let's move on then. So for number 3 then. Oh,
Can I know the meaning of cathedral?
is it exercise 2?
Yeah, number 7.
Oh, cathedral. A cathedral is like a big church cathedral.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture. And maybe you've seen one before. Well done for asking though, Joshua, very good. Here's a cathedral. Have you ever been to one?
No.
No, so it's a big church. But maybe you can do some more research into those and where they are and what happens in them and so on. So for number 3, you're going to work in pairs, but so these are something called collocations. So you're going to write area, place, room or space in the gaps to form collocations, which means like 2 words that are working closely together. We tend to put them together. So for example, a hiding place, those 2 words often go together. Because if you're playing a game called hide and seek, for example, you go and find a hiding place. Then you need to discuss what each of them means. So a hiding place is a place to hide or hide something. So you get 3 words each time: hiding, market, and meeting. So you'd have to decide what would go after all of those. So would it be so you're using area, place, room or space. So you could have hiding area, market area, meeting area. Doesn't make sense. Because we wouldn't have an area for hiding, because otherwise everyone would know where you are. So you've got to have one that works with all of them. So that's already helped us out there because we know it's place: hiding place, marketplace, meeting place. Hiding place, marketplace, meeting place. So therefore, we could say what each one is. What is a marketplace?
A place where there are many stalls.
Yeah, good, exactly. A place where the market is laid out, where there's many stalls laid out. And then what is a meeting place? So use this structure. A meeting place is a place to, you can just switch the words around. A place to hold a meeting is where you're going to meet. So you could say that, oh, okay, we'll meet next week in the so-and-so cafe. That is your meeting place. That cafe is your meeting place. So I'm going to put you into breakout rooms in the same pairs that you were in earlier. And you can just finish numbers 2, 3, and 4 together, but make sure you say those sentences to explain what each one means. So it'll be Lynn and Jasria. It will be Eugene and Carlson. And it will be Chong and Danny Asri. Okay, so I'll put you into those now, and we'll have about 3 minutes. Great, well done everybody. There was some good discussion going on there, and it's harder than it looked actually, isn't it? But now that you know these collocations, or we're going to check them anyway, it should make it easier now when you know what pairs usually go together, that when you come across them again, you'll know which one to use with it. Hopefully it'll be more memorable. So there was a bit of a debate going on with some of them as to which one it should be, but let's see what you found out. So Lynn and Jasria, what did you put for number 2?
We put space.
Space is correct. Well done. Okay, that's exactly right. So Lynn, what does it mean by an office space?
It means the place that the workers use to work, and so on.
Yeah, good. So when somebody's buying a house, perhaps they will look for if there's any office space. Maybe if they work from home, they need somewhere to set up their home office. They need an office space. And Jashria, what does personal space mean?
Is it like your privacy, like your own privacy?
It is really, yes, and it's your personal space is your privacy. So you wouldn't want somebody to come into your personal space, like I don't know, maybe if you're in your bedroom, you might expect somebody to knock before they come into your personal space, or just actually the physical space very close around you. If somebody comes and speaks to you and they're really close, it feels a bit uncomfortable because they're in your personal space. They're a little bit too close to you. So we kind of naturally feel that most of the time, and that we kind of keep a nice distance when we're talking to people just naturally, because it doesn't feel very comfortable if somebody's in your personal space. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever had that before? Somebody maybe
Yeah.
coming into your personal space or standing a bit too close to you makes you feel
Yeah,
a bit,
many
"Ooh."
times.
Yeah, is it a certain place like the bus or something?
No, in school, it's really often.
Oh, really? So is it because it's so crowded?
No, it's just my friends. They come up to me and they do weird stuff. So, yeah, I don't really personally like it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so hopefully so you remind them to stay out of your personal space. Okay, well done. So Eugene and Carlson, what did you put for number 3?
Room.
Room. Okay. Did you put the same, Josh, Ria and Lynn?
Yeah.
Yes. teacher.
Okay. Yeah, and I know Chong and Danny Ashry did in the end as well. So it is room, very good. Eugene, what does it mean by standing room?
Place for you to stand.
Yeah, where
room.
might you talk about having standing room? You wouldn't just randomly say it about your house, because you'd probably expect to be able to stand up in your house. So where might you talk about having standing room?
Is your own a tiny place for you to stand in a stadium.
Yeah, okay. So a designated place in the stadium where people stand up, good. Or maybe sometimes in a tent, it says there is standing space, because we wouldn't always expect in a tent to be able to stand up. So there might be some that you can buy where you can stand up. So it might say it has sufficient standing space. Calcium, what does headspace mean?
Headspace is
Danny Astri, do you want to jump in for this one? What does headspace mean?
Headspace is like example in a car. There's an area for you to put your head. Not to say put your head, but there's a it's a high place so that your head doesn't hit on the top of the car.
Yeah, okay, there's enough space. Yeah, exactly. It's high enough for your head to fit in comfortably. Good. And actually, when I was talking to you and Chong, I'd forgotten there's another meaning of this actually when I was explaining. It can also be not a physical space. Sometimes you might say, I really need some head space. You might hear somebody saying that, and it means a bit of a mental break. So maybe if you've been revising and revising and revising, that's all you're thinking about, you might just say, oh, I need some headspace. Like I need to just go and do something else and give my mind a rest. Or if you're worrying about something, you're worrying, you want some headspace, just some time to relax your mind. So we can talk about it in that sense as well. So finally then, Chong and Danny Asri, what was the fourth one?
Area.
Area, very good. Okay. So what did picnic area mean?
And the area that you use for a picnic. Something like
Yes,
that.
good. Yeah, that's right. Exactly. You can find a picnic area when you go to a park. That's where you're allowed to have your picnic. Some public spaces don't let you have picnics everywhere. You might have to find an allocated space that has tables and bins and so on. What about the dining area, Danny Asri?
The dining area is the area where you dine or you have dinner.
Yep, good, exactly, well done. Sorry, going back to headspace, that's why I was just thinking about this. It can also be that you have to be in the right frame of mind, in the right headspace. So if somebody says, oh, can you help me with this? You might say, oh, I'm just not in the right headspace. You know, sometimes you're just not in the right frame of mind to do it. You're not ready to concentrate. I'm not in the right headspace. So it can be used in lots of different ways. So very well done. Are there any questions about exercise 3? All right, well, we will have a 15-minute break and then we will come back and work through the next few exercises. So have a good break, come back nice and refreshed and in the right headspace, ready to continue. I will see you then. Bye-bye.
Of our project on historic local buildings.
Okay, great. Sorry, I was there. I just couldn't get my screen into the right place. So hope you had a good break and you're now in the right headspace. Let's carry on. So you did a really good job of learning the collocations of the words for area, space and place and room. So we're going to continue on to the next exercise now. Let me just share that with you again. So we're going to have a go first of all at number 4, just to continue what we were looking at. And then we'll move on to the listening. So complete number 4, you're just completing the sentences by writing one of the collocations that you've just learned from exercise 3 in the gaps. So teachers get angry when students leave their cars in their personal, what should that be, Danny Asri?
Personal space.
So you've got to use 2 words together this time. So would it be, so thinking about space, would it be personal space? Would it be, hold on, it's confusing because it's got the word personal in there. Public space, floor space, green space, office space, parking space. What might teachers have that they might get annoyed about if students take? The word is space, but there's a word that comes before it. Something space is, actually.
Is it personal office space?
It's not personal office space. No, it would be unlikely that students would do that, but it's more likely that they might take their personal parking
Parking space.
spaces. Ah, there you go. So when older students are driving, they might end up parking in the wrong spaces and going where teachers are meant to park. So let's try number 2. So John, can you read number 2, please?
If someone makes you feel uncomfortable by standing too close to you, we say that they have entered your personal space.
Yeah, good. Okay. How about number 3, please, Carlson?
I love my school. It's surrounded by green place with lots of trees and lawns.
Green what, sorry?
Space.
Space, good. Green space with lots of trees and lawns, lovely. Eugene, number 4, please.
I'm tall and the seats on the plane didn't have enough headroom.
Didn't have enough headroom. Yes. Or well, no, it's not headroom. Sorry, let me rethink that. Would you ever get on a plane that doesn't have enough headroom?
No, because I'm short.
Okay, so even as a tall person, you would usually have enough headroom. The cabin space goes up high enough, usually for most people's heads, even if they are tall. But usually, if you're tall, you have long legs, so you might not have enough leg room because the seats in front are usually quite close to you.
Oh, okay.
So that's difficult for tall people. What about number 5, Jashria?
There are lots of stalls in the marketplace selling fresh fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, very good. And then finally, Lynn, number 6.
When you go to the country, it's good to find a picnic area where you can sit and eat a sandwich.
Lovely. Yes, exactly. A picnic area where you can sit and eat a sandwich. Very good. Okay, so let's move on then, and we're going to do listening part 2. So you're going to hear a student giving a talk to his classmates about his house, which he claims is haunted. Oh dear. Before you listen, do you think it's possible for houses to be haunted? Why or why not? So hands up if you think yes, houses can be haunted. Who thinks that? Let me look through the cameras. Oh, nobody thinks they can be haunted. Okay, why not, Calson?
Because ghost is not exist.
It's not what, sorry?
It's not exist.
Yes, okay. Most people's beliefs are that. Some people think they do though, don't they? So it's an area of disagreement sometimes, but you're all in the same on the same page there. So disagreeing with that. So let's answer the questions in the exam roundup box. So this is about listening part 2. We did this during our mock test. I'm sure you've had lots of other practices as well. So you're going to say whether the statements below are true or false. If it's false, you're going to correct it. So Lynn, can you read number 1, please?
In listening part 2, you hear a conversation. True.
It's false, actually. You hear a talk from one person. You're going to hear a student giving a talk to his classmates. So actually you don't hear the other people speaking back. How about number 2, Carlson?
Yes, teacher.
Read number 2, say whether it's true or false, please.
False.
Okay, good. Why is it false? How many questions are there?
10.
10 questions, exactly. Well done. Number 3, please, Jashria.
I'm not sure, teacher. I think it's true.
Oh, it's false actually, because you need 1 to 3 words rather than 2.
Oh, I read 2 as 3. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yep. Number 4, please, Chong.
You hear the actual words you need to write. I think it's true.
It is true. Well done. Number 5, Dani Asri.
You must spell your answers correctly. True.
It is true. Very good. Number 6, Eugene.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
It's not true. It's false. So before you listen, read the questions as quickly as possible. It should be that you should try and read and try to predict the type of information and types of words you need, so that you really think those questions through first of all, and really think, what are they asking me? What could the possibilities be? Because you never know, you could predict it correctly, and then it makes it easier because you hear that answer. So that one is false. So read and predict.
Oh, okay.
Read carefully so you can write this down and predict answers. We're going to do that in a minute. And then number 7, Dani Asri, back to you, please. Dani Asri, sorry.
When you finish, make sure your answers form grammatical sentences. Is it true?
It is true. Well done. Exactly. So even though it's a listening task, obviously we still want our writing to be accurate as well. So well done. If it was false, sorry, make sure you correct it so you can use those notes that are on the screen. So let's think about what we just heard in question 6 then, that we want to read the questions carefully and make predictions. So here is the text, and you can make a prediction each time. So Dani Asri, can you just read out and you can just say something for the missing spaces?
Jeff has lived in the house for 5 years.
Okay, good prediction. You can all write your predictions in a pencil or another colour to what you're going to write the real thing in. Okay, he thinks. In fact, let's all do our predictions in the chat box and then we can see if anyone was right. So let's not worry about reading it aloud. I trust that you can all read that. So just write your predictions 1 to 10 in the chat box and we'll see who has the most correct predictions, or if any. I'm going to do it as well. Although it's a bit unfair as I have the answers here, so I won't. Okay, I haven't seen any predictions coming in the chat box so far, so finishing those off. Oh, we got our first set of predictions from Jashri. Okay, 2 more minutes, and then we're just going to post any predictions you have, even if you haven't quite finished all of them. Well done, Jashria, for the second half there. Okay, anybody else submit them? Press send on anything you've done so far. Don't worry if you've not finished it. Otherwise, it's just Jashria and Chong competing. I haven't got any of the others. Oh, hold on. Yes, I have. Danny Ashry, well done. Lynn, well done. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to see who has the most predictions, most correct predictions in a moment. So you're going to listen to it twice, just like you will in the exam, and you can fill them in as you go. And then we'll see who was the winner, who the winner was for the predicting. Okay, so let's have a listen.
Unit 13. Listening Part 2. Exercise 4.
Hi. So, as part of our project on historic local buildings, I thought I'd tell you about the house where I live. My mum and dad bought it when I was about 7, so we've been there for about 8 years now. It isn't all that old. It was built about 15 years ago, but it's on the site of a much older place dating back to the 15th century, which fell down. Anyway, why I'm telling you all this is because we're pretty sure the house is haunted. I mean, it's got ghosts. Yeah, you can laugh, but I'm not joking. I know because I know several people, myself included, who have had some strange experiences there. Yeah. You may think I'm just telling you a story, but a couple of years ago, I remember my mum and dad had invited all sorts of relatives to one of those big family celebrations, and we were all sitting round after lunch. I was playing some game with my cousins, and my grandma was telling everyone about her visits to the doctor or something, when my uncle suddenly went pale and dropped his coffee cup. Grandma thought he'd been taken ill or something because of her stories, but he said he'd just seen a group of men dressed up as medieval soldiers go past the window. We cousins ran outside to take a look, but there was nobody there. Anyway, when he'd calmed down, he described their appearance in quite a lot of detail, so he wasn't just making it up. Then, a couple of months later, a friend of my mum's was staying with us. My mum was busy in her study and I was watching football on the telly in the sitting room when the friend came rushing out of the kitchen, shouting and hollering that he'd seen the table sort of float across the room. I've never seen a grown-up tremble like he did. So when we went to look, the table had actually moved, and it's one of those really heavy old oak ones. It took 3 of us to push it back, so he couldn't have done it on his own. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's because of the things which have happened, but when I'm studying in my room, I sometimes feel as if there's someone standing behind me, sort of breathing down my neck, and checking what I'm doing like it's one of my teachers. I mean, I can feel the breath, but when I turn round, there's no one there. That shakes me up a bit. Anyway, my mum complained that she was experiencing the same thing, so she got the builders in and she had the old garage at the back of the house turned into a study so she could work there instead, without being interrupted by these uninvited visitors. Then, my dad got the whole house checked by a specialist in supernatural phenomena, a sort of ghost hunter. She checked local history records, and apparently the house is actually located somewhere where, after one of those invasions, a battle took place a few hundred years ago with lots of fighting, so there could be quite a few bodies buried there. Weird, isn't it? A bit later, my dad decided to have a tennis court built in a corner of the garden so he and I could play together. Anyway, One of the workers was on his own there one morning when he felt someone watching him. When he turned round, he saw something which literally made his hair stand on end. A man standing there with a white shirt covered in blood. The lad shouted, and the man just disappeared. When we questioned him, he was gibbering and shaking. He didn't know anything about the other supernatural experiences people have been having. My mum's getting a bit fed up with all these happenings, but my dad doesn't mind them so much. You see, he's only down here at weekends because he works in London during the week.
Okay, so one more time.
Unit 13. Listening Part 2. Exercise 4.
Hi. So, as part of our project on historic local buildings, I thought I'd tell you about the house where I live. My mum and dad bought it when I was about 7, so we've been there for about 8 years now. It isn't all that old. It was built about 15 years ago, but it's on the site of a much older place dating back to the 15th century, which fell down. Anyway, why I'm telling you all this is because we're pretty sure the house is haunted. I mean, it's got ghosts. Yeah, you can laugh, but I'm not joking. I know because I know several people, myself included, who have had some strange experiences there. Yeah, you may think I'm just telling you a story, but a couple of years ago I remember my mum and dad had invited all sorts of relatives to one of those big family celebrations, and we were all sitting round after lunch. I was playing some game with my cousins, and my grandma was telling everyone about her visits to the doctor or something, when my uncle suddenly went pale and dropped his coffee cup. Grandma thought he'd been taken ill or something because of her stories, but he said he'd just seen a group of men dressed up as medieval soldiers go past the window. We cousins ran outside to take a look, but there was nobody there. Anyway, when he'd calmed down, he described their appearance in quite a lot of detail, so he wasn't just making it up. Then, a couple of months later, a friend of my mum's was staying with us. My mum was busy in her study and I was watching football on the telly in the sitting room when the friend came rushing out of the kitchen, shouting and hollering that he'd seen the table sort of float across the room. I've never seen a grown-up tremble like he did. So when we went to look, the table had actually moved, and it's one of those really heavy old oak ones. It took 3 of us to push it back, so he couldn't have done it on his own. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's because of the things which have happened, but when I'm studying in my room, I sometimes feel as if there's someone standing behind me, sort of breathing down my neck, and checking what I'm doing like it's one of my teachers. I mean, I can feel the breath, but when I turn round, there's no one there. That shakes me up a bit. Anyway, my mum complained that she was experiencing the same thing, so she got the builders in and she had the old garage at the back of the house turned into a study so she could work there instead, without being interrupted by these uninvited visitors. Then, my dad got the whole house checked by a specialist in supernatural phenomena, a sort of ghost hunter. She checked local history records, and apparently the house is actually located somewhere where, after one of those invasions, a battle took place a few hundred years ago with lots of fighting, so there could be quite a few bodies buried there. Weird, isn't it? A bit later, my dad decided to have a tennis court built in a corner of the garden so he and I could play together. Anyway, one of the workers was on his own there one morning when he felt someone watching him. When he turned round, he saw something which literally made his hair stand on end. A man standing there with a white shirt covered in blood. The lad shouted, and the man just disappeared. When we questioned him, he was gibbering and shaking. He didn't know anything about the other supernatural experiences people have been having. My mum's getting a bit fed up with all these happenings, but my dad doesn't mind them so much. You see, he's only down here at weekends because he works in London during the week.
Great. Okay, so let's go through and see if anybody got their predictions right as well. How did you find that? Was it easy to listen to, or was it quite difficult to pick out some of the words and vocabulary?
Teacher, I didn't quite get all of them.
Didn't quite get all of them. Okay. So was it quite hard? Was it going at quite quickly?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go through them then. And then we'll see what the answers were. So I'm going to read out the transcript a bit slower and you can listen to that. So he says, "Hi. So as part of our project on historic local buildings, I thought I'd tell you about the house where I live. My mum and dad bought it when I was about 7, so we've been there for about 8 years now. It isn't all that old. It was built about 15 years ago, but it's on the site of a much older place dating back to the 15th century, which fell down. Anyway, why I'm telling you all this is because we're pretty sure that the house is haunted. I mean, it's got ghosts. Yeah, you can laugh, but I'm not joking. I know because I know several people myself included, sorry, who've had some strange experiences. That's number 2, strange experiences. So that's why he thinks his house is haunted. I've had some strange experiences there. Yeah, you may think I'm just telling you a story, but a couple of years ago, I remember my mum and dad had invited all sorts of relatives to one of those big family celebrations, and we were all sitting round after lunch. I was playing some game with my cousins, and my grandma was telling everyone about her visits to the doctor or something, when my uncle, that's number 3, my uncle, suddenly went pale and dropped his coffee cup. Grandma thought he'd been taken ill or something because of her stories, but he said he'd just seen a group of men dressed up as medieval soldiers go past the window. We cousins ran outside to take a look, but there was nobody there. Anyway, when he'd calmed down, he described their appearance in quite a lot of detail, so he wasn't just making it up. Then, a couple of months later, a friend of my mum's was staying with us. My mum was busy in her study and I was watching football on the telly in the sitting room when the friend came rushing out of the kitchen, number 4. Out of the kitchen, shouting and hollering, so making lots of noise, that he'd seen the table sort of float across the room. I'd never seen a grown-up tremble like he did, so we went back to look. The table had actually moved, and it's one of those really heavy old oak ones, a type of wood. It took 3 of us to push it back. So he couldn't have done it on his own. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's because of the things which have happened, but when I'm studying in my room, I sometimes feel as if there's someone standing behind me. That's the answers. He feels like there's someone standing behind him. Sort of breathing down my neck and checking what I'm doing, like it's one of my teachers. I mean, I can feel the breath, but when I turn around, there's no one there. That shakes me up a bit. Anyway, my mum complained that she was experiencing the same thing. So she got the builders in and she had the old garage, number 6, converted into a study. Sorry, our garage at the back of the house turned into a study so she could work there instead without being interrupted by these uninvited visitors. Then my dad got the whole house checked by a specialist in supernatural phenomena, a sort of ghost hunter. She checked local history records, and apparently the house is actually located somewhere where, after one of those invasions, a battle took place a few hundred years ago with lots of fighting. So there could be quite a few bodies buried there. So this is number 7, a battle. The battle took place, bodies there. Weird, isn't it? A bit later, my dad decided to have a number 8 tennis court built in a corner of the garden so he and I could play together. Anyway, one of the workers was on his own there one morning when he felt someone watching him. When he turned round, he saw something which literally made his hair stand on end. A man standing there with a white shirt covered in number 9 blood. The lad shouted, and the man just disappeared. When we questioned him, he was gibbering and shaking. He didn't know anything about the other supernatural experiences people had been having. My mum's getting a bit fed up with all these happenings, but my dad doesn't mind them so much. You see, he's only down here at weekends, number 10. Because he works in London during the week. So hopefully you've got all of those answers in there. Who managed to get 10 out of 10 first time? Anybody? Okay, who got 9? 8? Okay, Danny Asri, well done. 7?
Me, teacher.
7, okay. 6? 5? 4? Oh, well done, Carlson. 8? 3? Lynn, 9, well done. So I think some of you missed it. Okay, so put your score in the chat box. That would be helpful, actually. And then let's see these predictions. Who managed to get it? So, Jasria, how many of your predictions were right?
Sadly, it's only 2.
2, okay, that's not bad. Chong, how many of your predictions were right?
Same as Justria, 2.
2, okay. Danny Asri, how many of yours?
1, teacher.
1. Oh, so Chong and Jasria, you were the joint winners. Well done. Very good. Good predictions. All right. Well, have you got any questions about listening exercise 2? It was an interesting story he was telling anyway, wasn't it? So you're going to discuss for the last few minutes whether you would be happy to live in a house with a reputation for being haunted, or do you know of any haunted houses? That is your discussion for the end of the session. I'm going to put you in breakout rooms again one last time, and then we'll come back and we'll do a bit of a cool-off game, a finishing game. So I'm going to mix them up a bit more this time, and we'll have so Jasria, you can move to room 2 this time. So we'll have Lynn and, hold on, let's just restart these again. Hold on, recreate, 2 breakout rooms, assign, okay, recreate. So let's just do Kalson, Danny, Asri and Lynn. And then Chong, Jasria and Eugene. Okay, 5 minutes, off you go. Okay, welcome back to the main room. Which group said that they would be happy to live in a house that's got a reputation for being haunted? Anybody? I mean, neither. Does anybody know the history of their own house? No, might be worth looking into. Although none of you believe in ghosts, me neither. So sure we're all okay. And did you know of any haunted houses or supposedly haunted houses? Does anybody know one? Oh, Chong, you're nodding. Which one was it?
I think it's called the Winchester Mansion.
Oh, the Winchester Mansion. I've not heard of that. Where is it in Winchester in the UK?
I'm not sure. It's named after the Winchester family. I think.
Oh, it's an American house. Okay. Oh, I don't know much about it. Okay. Do you know anything about why it's supposedly haunted?
The story is, I'm not very clear with the story, but it started with the Winchester family. It was a family that made the Winchester, a company that made guns, and the soldiers that were killed by the guns were haunting the family.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard anything about this. Yes. Wow, I'll have to have a read. All right, thanks for sharing. So, well done. Good discussions about haunted houses there. Hopefully, we'll move on from that next week. A bit spooky. So, we've got 5 minutes. So we'll just play a quick game to finish. So, we are going to do the other game now, which was funny story predictions. So, these are real stories as well. So, we're going to have a look at things that have happened, and you have to predict what's going to come next. To improve your speaking and listening skills as well. So here is a telephone box. This one's called London Calling. So part 1, okay, look at the picture and title. What do you think this true story is about? So let's predict before we even know anything else apart from just the fact it's about a telephone box and London Calling. Who's got a great idea for what could have happened in this real life story event? Maybe the more we do this, the more used to it you'll get. So we're going to read part 1 of the story. Kelson, can you read out part 1, please?
A phone box in London wasn't being used very much. The local government decided to make it into something new, so they made it into a
Prediction, please. What could they have made it into? Chong, have you got a good idea? You're chuckling away.
The first idea I got was the toilet.
Oh, you never know. You never know. Let's see. So you can read part 2. Here we go. Oh,
Disco. It even has a disco ball. You can play music by
so slightly better than a toilet. Do you want to make a prediction? How can you play music?
radio.
So there's a radio in there, yeah? So turning on the radio, perhaps it's in the box. Okay, Danny Asri, let's hear part 3.
Putting money in the phone and dialing all the money
Ah.
to charity. It must be the smallest disco in the world. Would you visit a phone box disco? What would you make from an old phone box?
So yeah, would you like to visit this phone box disco?
Actually, yes. It's very unique and weird at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a different way to use a phone box because they're all being used for different quite a lot of the time you find phone boxes like this excuse me, around the UK, because people don't need them anymore because we've got mobile phones. So there's all sorts of things like a bookcase and things like that. Sorry, like a book library, shared library that people have turned them into. That's quite a common one. But this one's quite unique. Does anybody have any good ideas what you turn a phone box into? I think a toilet could be quite handy, to be honest, because sometimes finding public toilets can be quite difficult. Any other ideas?
Teacher, I thought about it, but I don't know if it's a little weird. I think we should make like that place for the area, for people who like to, smoke. So they can like a smoke area so that it doesn't get polluted. Like, yeah.
I like that idea. It might also put the people who are smoking off smoking because it would get very smoky in there, wouldn't it? So even if you're a smoker, you probably wouldn't enjoy it because it would be it would keep all the smoke in there. So yeah, that could be great. Perhaps people who are really trying to keep the air pollution. Well, we should all be wanting to keep the air pollution down, and then smokers will be encouraged to stop. Great idea. Well, we will have another look at another one of those next time. They're all quite fun. I hope you've all enjoyed today's lesson. Well done, everyone. You've done a good job. I will see you again at the same time. Oh, is it next week? Yes, we do have one next week. Yes, it's the week after that we don't. Okay, so I'll see you all next Monday. Okay,
Thank you,
great.
teacher.
Thank
All
you,
right.
teacher.
That's all right. Well done. Well done, everyone. Bye bye. Bye.